Jai Prabhuji. Hello and welcome to the Retroprogressive Yoga Institute. This is our course about the book Kundalini Yoga, The Power is in You by Prabhuji. As many of you know, if you follow the course, we are in a very advanced stage of it. We are in our last few classes and we are now dealing with the last center, which is the Sahasrara chakra. In our previous meeting, we began to grasp what is the essence of this center, the Sahasrara chakra. We understood that one cannot truly speak about what occurs here, and only a realized master, someone who has transcended this center, holds the actual authority to discuss it. We understood why, despite being unable to articulate what happens in this center, countless enlightened beings, masters, have written books and given lectures expressing and describing their experiences. So if you didn't listen to our previous class, it's very recommended that you understand it and see it as this is a continuation from it. What I just shared, we just spoke about it in our previous class. Today, we'll start by reading something that we find in the book about this center and then delve deeper into these words. Let us read. It is here that the yogi completely sheds the personal plane and awakens to universal reality. It is the end of a very long path that spans many lives from here to here. It is the place of the great divine reunion, the true religion, where the individual is reabsorbed into the totality. It is the place of reintegration, which is the final step in the great cosmic process of consciousness. It is the door from the mundane to the transcendental, from the relative to the absolute, from slavery to freedom. When the serpentine powers arrives at the ground center, the boundary between human and divine is crossed. This center corresponds to absolute truth because it represents the transcendence of all relativity. In other words, the reintegration of duality into unity, the source and the origin. The fusion of Shiva and Shakti means the evaporation of all duality. Shakti disappears only to re-emerge with Shiva as the sole absolute reality. When Kundalini is absorbed there is a fusion of the knower, the knowledge, and the known. The cognitive platform of subject and object is dismantled. When the divine fire reaches the crown chakra, the sense of separation disappears, along with concepts such as space, time, and causation. The yogi transcends the I and its baggage of desires and ambitions, even the desire for enlightenment. The individual emotions, longings, and desires are taken and reabsorbed into their source and origin, pure consciousness. Such an incredible description of what happens in this center, from being reabsorbed to disassembling the cognitive platform of subject and object, to the fusion between Shakti with Shiva, all the things that are dissolved and disappearing in this center, and how this is something that can take many, many, many lives in order to achieve, but at the same time is a journey from here to here. We didn't go, like if we're talking about distance, we didn't go from a place to another, but we just realized that everything was here already. So this is why he's saying there, from here to here. One of the things that I also caught my attention was the fact of the desire of enlightenment. It's speaking about how all the desires and longings and everything that we yearn for, it's disappearing in the fusion of Shakti with Shiva in the center. And one of them is the desire of enlightenment. And it was a question that it was very curious for me since the first time that I heard in regards to the desire of enlightenment, because one can ask how come it can be negative, or why is it an obstacle to desire enlightenment? Like, this is what we're searching for in the spiritual path, right? But then we saw, even in our classes of the grantees, how the last grantee, the one that it was in the Anya chakra, it opens when we no longer have this desire, because the mere fact that this desire exists is revealing that we still perceive ourselves as a separate entity. And this is what is not allowing this grantee to open. But when that illusion, because let us remember that this is an illusion, this is a belief, when this disappears, when it falls, and we realize that we are part of the whole, then of course, or not of course, but the desire of enlightenment also disappears. But having this longing, it's just showing us our wrong perception of reality. Something else that I want us to pay attention is how the prefix re is used several times in this paragraph. Apart from intensifying, opposing, or referring to a backward movement, this prefix is also employed to express repetition, as seen in the words of this paragraph like reunion, reabsorbed, reintegration. All these words show something that we often share, the fact that we already are what we long for. The reunion has already occurred. There is already integration with the divine, and in the fusion at the seventh center, there is basically only a recognition of that reunion. We are not adding something, but we are just realizing the separation was illusory. Then I want us to read again one sentence of this paragraph that says, when Kundalini is absorbed, there is a fusion of the knower, the knowledge, and the known. The cognitive platform of subject-object is dismantled. There is a conference by Prabhuji titled Eso eres tú. It's in Spanish. In English, the meaning of that is you, that's you. And in this conference is detailing the construction process of this triad, the knower, the known, and the knowledge. And I want to share some words in regards to this conference, but first, as usual, it's essential to provide context regarding the conference itself, because when we're introducing various concepts, terms, or definition without any context, then this could cause certain confusion in the explanation, which is exactly the opposite of what we aim to hear, which is to clarify together what we find in the book. So in that occasion, Prabhuji begins by defining the egoic phenomenon, which is a construction based on external opinions. And in the time when when this specific lecture was recorded, it was a time where the main theme, or the theme of many of them, was self-inquiry, this Atma Vichara of this a brilliant master, Ramana Maharishi. Prabhuji explains the importance of asking ourselves the question, who am I? Because it no longer stems from that accumulation of opinions, the ego, but it's consciousness asking, what's your opinion about yourself? So he continues to explain how accepting the ego creates separation. There is me inside this body, and outside are different objects, things that are not me. So the mere acceptance of that construct brings conflict, separation. Here, someone, which is the subject, observing something outside, which are the objects. And that's where the cognitive platform that we mentioned in the sentence that we're studying, the subject-object, comes into play. Then he explains how in the Atma Bodha, it is explained in the terms of Jnatri, Jnanam, Jnana. In the verse itself, it says, Jnatri, Jnanam, Jnanam, Vedaha, Parenatmani Vidyate. It's part of the verse itself that we find in the Atma Bodha. And you know that we have many translations from this type of scriptures. And one of them says more or less that there are no distinctions such as knower, knowledge, and the known in the Supreme Being. Okay, we have this triad that we heard in the sentence that we are studying. And he's telling us how this is similar or the same to how Maimonides, this very famous master too, or he's also known as the Rambam, explains in his very famous work, Guide for the Perplexed. He's referring to the divinity as Shehu Hadea Hayodea Vehayadua. He says that the absolute is the knowledge, the knower, and the known. So we have this incredible articulation between these two very different revelations. We have the Atma Bodha from one side, and then what Maimonides, the Rambam, comes to tell us. But both of them are speaking about the known, the knowledge, and the knower. So he comments on how all these expresses that such division doesn't exist. And he's using a brilliant example for us to visualize what it says here. And he says, he uses the situation when I am scratching my arm, I don't divine between the hand scratching, the scratching itself, and what is scratch. So the division actually doesn't exist. And that's what happens in the fusion at the seventh center. This illusory separation dissolves. There is no separation between the known, the knower, and the knowledge, because the three of them are the absolute itself. I really recommend you to go and watch this this conference, because there are many other things that are explained after this point, and then you can actually discover the name of the lecture itself, which is That's You. Like he's explaining what is this.
Entonces se crea lo que el Atma Bodha denomina Jnatri, el conocedor, Jnēya, lo conocido, y Jnanam, o el conocimiento. Se llega a una situación de este triángulo en que todo es conocedor, sujeto, lo conocido, el objeto, y Jnanam, el conocimiento. Este es el conocimiento mental, lógico, diferente de la sabiduría, porque es un conocimiento del sujeto acerca del medio, del otro. Esto aparece en el Atma Bodha 41. Ñatri ñana ñeya vedaha parenatmani vidyate. Y esto es prácticamente no semejante, sino que es lo mismo que menciona el Rambam Maimónides en su Morene Bujim, o Guía de los Perplejos, Helek Rishon, Perek Samechet, primera parte, 68, donde el Rambam, refiriéndose a la divinidad, nos dice, Shehu Hadea Hayodea Behayadua. Es decir, lo absoluto es el conocimiento, el conocedor y lo conocido. En ese orden lo pone él. Tratando de indicarnos todo esto, que en la realidad del uno sin segundo no es posible una división de este tipo. Si, por ejemplo, yo me rasco la mano, no puedo dividir o no divido entre una mano que es lo rascado, el rascar y el rascador que es mi otra mano. Lo mismo ocurre si bebo un vaso de agua. Yo no voy a dividir entre quien bebe, quien trae el vaso. No. O si miro algo, no debería dividir porque la conciencia es una y es todo. Esto, a ver, he aquí donde muchos cometen el error de pensar que la iluminación es una experiencia. Y de una u otra manera, traen o piensan y ven la iluminación como otra experiencia dentro del plano dual. He conversado con muchos, que a través de sus ideas y sus preguntas es posible darse cuenta de que todavía están pensando en la iluminación como otra experiencia de carácter dual, donde un ñatri o sujeto persigue la iluminación como un objeto y es algo que no lo posee, pero que en algún momento esto se va a transformar en ñanam o alguna clase de conocimiento y entonces va a estar iluminado. De una u otra manera, algo semejante. Transformándose a sí mismos en el sujeto, transforman a Dios en el objeto. De tal manera que no se dan cuenta de que la realización de la verdad no es otra experiencia. Y así persiguen la experiencia toda la vida, con diferentes prácticas, técnicas, métodos, oran por... Pero es imposible, es perseguir un imposible porque la realización de Dios no es otra experiencia, sino que es la esencia misma de toda experiencia.
I want us to continue sharing certain properties about the Sahasrara chakra, starting from the meaning of the name, and I'm going to show some images. The meaning of the name is the 1,000-spoked wheel, and it's also called Shunya, which is empty, and another name is the chakra Niralamba Puri, which is the chakra of the independent city, which is again coming to show us what is this center about, right? Independent city. We have Puri, which means city, and then we have that it's independent. It's something that is transcendental, which is what this center is about. Other names to refer to this chakra, I would like us to read from the book, only a few of them, and then if you would like to delve and go deeper into the names, and there are many more in the book. In the Vedas, Upanishads, and Puranas, we find many names for this energy center. Tantric terminology calls Sahasrara chakra by the following names: Adho Mukha Mahapadma, the great lotus which is facing downward; Amlana Padma, the bright lotus. The Vedic terminology, up until the last Upanishads, we find the following names: Akasha chakra, ether chakra; Kapala Samputa, the space between the two cavities situated in the head. In the Puranas, the seventh chakra is referred to as Parama, supreme; Sahasrara Dala, 1,000 petal; Sahasra Patra, 1,000-leaved. So as I mentioned, these are only a few of the names that we find, and there are many others in the book. The location of this center is the upper part of the skull, and the kshetram is also at the crown of the head. The presiding deity is Shiva, and the goddess or the Devi is Mahashakti. The element or tattva, we're going to see that unlike the lower energy centers, which have specific elements and also animals, the crown center does not have them because it is the transcendental center. That is to say that it is the divine union of Shiva and Shakti. This divine union is the one that are representing, we can say, these elements. And we're going to see that there are many properties that this center does not have. The color of the chakra is violet, but then when we go, for example, to the color of the tattva, it does not have a color, but it is pure light. The power that is associated with this center is enlightenment. The plane or loka is satya loka, or the plane of reality of the truth. And then there are all these elements or properties that this center does not have, how it happened to us with the Ajna chakra. Because of the level of subtlety, then it doesn't have certain properties. One of them is the subtle element or tammatra, the cognitive organ or jnanendriya. There is no organ of action or karmendriya. There is no element or tattva. There is no vital air or vayu. It does have a gland, which is the hypophysis or the pituitary gland. And just to say something very interesting about this gland, it is that one of the names that is known is the master gland, because this gland is coordinating the secretion of different hormones that are very important in order for our body to function as it's supposed to. So I just wanted to bring this association, this how they are associated, like it's the master gland, and we're speaking about this Sahasrara chakra, which is this transcendental center. The energetic channel or nadi of the center is Sushumna. The bioelement or dosha is Kapha or watery element. The sheath or kosha is Anandamaya kosha or the bliss sheath. this Sanskrit name, Ananda, Sanskrit word, it's one that we discuss many times because of its meaning. So this is the one that corresponds to this center, the bliss sheath. The gemstones, just to mention a few, we have the amber, we have the white quartz, the amethyst quartz, the rose quartz, the jasper, and there are many others that you can find in the book. We have the fragrance, which is lotus, and the aromatherapy oils are frankincense, lavender, and also sandalwood. The planet that is associated with the center is Ketu, which means the southern descending node of the moon. And to finalize this class, I would like to share a few of the secondary chakras that are related to the Sahasrara. Some of them are Maha Devi, Maha Gauri, Maha Kali, Maha Lakshmi, Maha Maya, Maha Nidra, Maha Tapa, Maha Vidya. If you want to check the others, you can find them in the book. This is everything for today. In our next class, we're going to be discussing about the balance and unbalance in the center. And then we have this famous extra center that we find in the book, which is the Bindu chakra. Thank you very much for joining us today. Jai Prabhuji.